Hi, welcome to the Gemara on Chaf Zayin Amud Aleph. We're starting 4 lines down in the middle section of wide lines with a new quote from the Mishnah. This is the part of the Mishnah about going down in Kedusha, which you're not allowed to do. If you sell a Sefer Torah, you cannot then buy Sfarim. A question is asked, is it possible, or what is the din, what is the psak about selling an old Sefer Torah in order to buy a new Sefer Torah? Kevan zelo ma'alei asur, since you're not bringing it up in Kedusha, it is forbidden. Maybe that's one possibility. O dilma kevan deleka lave achrina shapir dami, or maybe since you can't go up in any other way, it's okay, right? The Mishnah doesn't list anything higher than a Torah, so maybe there's really nothing you can do about that. And maybe that makes it okay to move horizontally. Tashma, here's attempted answer number 1. Aval machur Torah lo yichu sfarim. I'm going to put Tashma in green so you can see that it's an attempted answer. Aval machur Torah lo yichu sfarim. That's a quote from our Mishnah. If you sell a Torah, you can't buy books. And so the Gemara extrapolates from there, Sfarim hu delo. It's dafka books that you can't buy. HaTorah b'Torah shapir dami. So it must be that it is okay to buy a Torah with the money from a Torah. But the Gemara rejects that idea. Manitin di eved. Our Mishnah is talking b'di eved, meaning, oops, you sold the Torah scroll. Now what are you going to do? You're not allowed to buy Sfarim. Ki kami ba'alan lecharchila. But this question was lecharchila. The question is asking about a different situation. The question in our Gemara, the Ibayalahu over here, our question is asking, can you decide I'm going to sell this Torah scroll so that I can buy a new one? So the Tashma from our Mishnah doesn't actually prove anything. Tashma, here's the second attempted answer. Golin Sefer Torah b'mipachot chumashin. You can wrap up a Sefer Torah in the wrappings, the coverings from a single book of the Torah. And you can wrap up chumashin in the wrappings or the coverings that come from nach. But you can't wrap neviim and ktuvim in the wrappings that come from chumashim. And you can't wrap a chumash in the mitpachat of a Sefer Torah. Rashi explains that you can only bring the wrapping up in Kedusha. So a wrapping that came from a Sefer Torah can't go down and be used for a chumash, etc. Ktani mihat golim Sefer Torah. Nonetheless, we learned, right, meaning the part of this we want to focus on is golim Sefer Torah b'mipachot chumashin. That you can wrap a Sefer Torah in the mitpachat of a chumash. Mipachot chumashin in, so yes, you can wrap it in the mipachat of a chumash. Mipachot Sefer Torah lo, but it doesn't say that you can wrap one Sefer Torah in the scarf of another Sefer Torah, so it makes it sound like you can't move horizontally. Ema Seifa, but I will say the end, meaning I'll quote you back the end. V'lo chumashim b'mipachot Sefer Torah, but you also can't use the scarf that came, or the wrapping that came from a chumash for a Sefer Torah. So meaning you can't go down in Kedusha. HaTorah b'Torah shapir dami. So if you just can't go down in Kedusha, so then you should be able to move horizontally. No, you can't actually learn anything from this source. This answer, this Tashma, is rejected because it's inconclusive. You have to go up, you can't go down, doesn't actually prove anything about moving horizontally. Tashma, so here's a third attempted answer. Menichin Sefer Torah al gabe Torah. You can rest a Sefer Torah on top of another Torah. The Torah al gabe chumashin, and you can rest a Torah on chumashim. The chumashin al gabe neviim v'ktuvim. You can rest a chumash on neviim and ktuvim. Aval lo neviim v'ktuvim al gabe chumashin, but you can't pile nach on top of a chumash. V'lo chumashin al gabe Torah, and you can't pile a chumash on top of a Torah. Which seems to prove that maybe that horizontal movement is okay, because you can lean a Sefer Torah on top of another Sefer Torah. Hanacha ka'amarta, but you're talking about leaning. Shani hanacha, right, or placing. Hanacha is different. It's a lo efshar, because it's not possible to do it any other way. Di'ilo temahachi, because if you don't say this, mikrach hichi krachinan. how can you ever roll up a Sefer Torah, right? By definition, when you roll up a Sefer Torah, one part of the Torah is on top of another. And the one page is resting on literally its fellow page. So it can't prevent anything from hanacha. Rather, since there's no other possibility, it's okay. But then the Gemara says, Hachanami kivan delo efshar shari. But maybe here too, meaning here too in the sale case, since there's no other possibility, it's okay. The Gemara leaves that as a possible answer, but goes on. Tashma, here's another attempted answer. Te'amar Rabbi Rachana Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rashbag Lo yimkor adam sefer Torah yashan likach bo chadash. Final answer, it sounds like you can't sell an old Torah to buy a new Torah. But the Gemara says, no, that's not talking about our case. Hatam mishum pshuta. That is a case where you're worried about negligence. Rashi explains where you might have been worried that you're selling the Torah and you say, well, I'm going to sell the Torah, I'm going to take the money, and then eventually I'm going to buy a new Torah. But you might be negligent. You might forget and use the money for something else. Kika amrinan kigon dekati b'manach leifruke. Kika amrinan, when what they're talking about, meaning our question about selling a Torah to buy a Torah, is in a case where is like a situation where it's already written kativ umanach lefruke, and it's sitting there waiting to be sold. Meaning the sofer is sitting there with a Torah already written, and all you have to do is sell your old one, and you can right away buy a new one. So there's no concern of negligence, but the question is still, can you do it or can you not do it? Right? So what's the psak? So that's still the open question. We didn't accept that previous one as a final answer. So Tashma, here's another attempted answer. Zam Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Meir, Ein mochrin sefer Torah el lilmod Torah v'lisai isha. You can't sell a sefer Torah except to learn Torah and to marry a woman. Shema mina Torah b'Torah shapir dami. So learn from here that buying a Torah with the money from a Torah is fine because learning Torah, that's the reason for selling the Torah. Then the Gemara rejects that. Dilma shani Talmud. But maybe learning Torah is different than owning a Sefer Torah. Shahalimud mevi lidei maaseh, because learning brings you to do actions, to do good actions. So maybe learning is higher than just owning a Sefer Torah. Isha nami, and a woman also, lo tohu bara l'sheva yitzra. This is a pasuk from Yeshayahu. The earth wasn't made to be sort of null and void, but rather it was made to be inhabited. It's a reason for having children. So that too is very important. Of al Torah b'Torah lo. But you can't sell a Torah to buy a Torah, right? Maybe that's still the case. This statement of Rabbi Meir is notwithstanding. Tana Rabbanan, we have a brayta, lo yimkor adam sefer Torah afal pi she'eino tzarich lo yetzer al ken. A person should not sell a sefer Torah even though the person doesn't need it anymore. Amar Ashbag, afil ein lo ma yochal, u'machar sefer Torah obito eino re'eh siman bracha l'olam. And Rashbag says, even if this person has nothing to eat, and the person sells a Sefer Torah or sells one's daughter into slavery, that person will never see siman bracha. Like it's a bad thing. You'll never get any pleasure from that money. You'll never get any blessing from that money. So it's a very bad thing. The Gemara does not exactly resolve the question of whether or not you can sell a Sefer Torah to buy another Torah. It does not seem encouraging of this idea. Doesn't rule exactly on that question. Okay, we'll stop here.